Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to another Fallout 4 Mods Weekly, the show where we recap some of the really cool and interesting mods that have come out during the week. Sorry this video's a couple days late, my schedule got real messed up over the weekend and so this didn't come out quite as planned, but we still have some really cool mods to show in this video. A whole lot of kit-bashed weapons in this one, and they're all really neat, and some of them have some really unique features. So I suppose we should go ahead and get started with the first one. To start off, we have a very special new weapon mod, and that's going to be the Magnum Rifle by the 6th Messenger. This is going to add a brand new 44 caliber rifle into the game that can fire in semi-automatic, fully automatic, or in a burst fire. But what makes this weapon really special is that it has a fully functional select fire. Now, other mods have attempted this before, and typically you would assign it to a hotkey for the select fire, and it would lower your weapon and bring it back up in the correct firing mode. But this one does it on the fly in a really cool, unique way. Here we have the Magnum Rifle in-game, and this thing is set to be a select fire between burst and semi-auto. And the way that the 6th Messenger integrated it is that it bursts in hip fire, and it's semi-automatic when you ADS. How neat is that? This thing has some really cool functionality on the fly, and you can change the different burst fire settings at a weapons workbench. The way that that works is you can choose which two firing modes you have on the select fire, so what you do in hip fire and what you do while you're ADSing. So the standard is burst fire for the hip and single shot for the ADS, but you can have it be full auto from the hip and burst fire while you ADS, or full auto from the hip and single shot when you ADS, which is probably my favorite configuration. That being said, I really do like the burst fire functionality. This is a crazy unique concept and something that's really cool to be implemented with this weapon. And the weapon itself is really cool looking as well. It is a nice little kit bash between a lot of Far Harbor parts, but it still looks really cool and lore friendly. But functionally, this thing is just super unique. And I really can't wait to see if the 6th Messenger implements this firing mode into future weapons. This thing's super cool and I'm really excited for the future of it. Now, enough about the mechanics. The weapon itself is a really cool addition to the vanilla game as well, and it is added to the level list, so you'll actually find this thing not only in the hands of gunners, but trappers over in Far Harbor. Or alternatively, you can craft this thing at the chemistry station. Additionally, there are two legendaries, the Widowmaker and Cromwell's Invocation, both of which can be found over in the Far Harbor DLC. I'm not going to give exact locations to avoid spoilers, but the information is right there on the mod page. Now, for our next mod, we're checking out a brand new armor set, and that's going to be the Metal Gear Solid Haven Trooper suit by Ashtails. Now, interestingly enough, this armor is female only in the game that it comes from, but it's actually, believe it or not, available for both female and male characters in this mod, which usually we deal with the reverse situation, so it's nice to see representation for both genders with this really cool new armor set. Now, this armor is by no means lore friendly, but it does look super cool. If you're running a modern tactical load order, I think this would fit pretty well inside of there as a pretty futuristic sci-fi sort of armor set. With this mod, you're going to be able to craft this thing at the chemistry station. It is not added to the level list whatsoever, and there are a ton of modifications at the workbench. Not necessarily in the types of things you can add, but specifically in regards to camouflages, there are over 70 camouflages in this armor that you can choose from, which is pretty crazy. You can also make a couple of lining modifications as well as change out the visor color of the helmet. Now, there are multiple versions of the main armor set, most of which are going to be pretty slooty, but what you're looking at on screen is the standard version of the armor, so you do actually get a pretty nice, heavily armored variant of this. But if you do want something a little bit more skimpy, that's included in this mod as well, though I'm not going to be showing that side of this on YouTube. Honestly, I love the style from Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid 5 is a really fun game, and I love the art style of the different enemies, as well as the allied armors in there. It's a really nice cross between sci-fi and modern military, and I think that that has a place in some certain Fallout 4 load orders, so definitely worth checking this one out if you like the style of this armor set. Up next, we have another kit bash weapon mod by the 6th Messenger, and that's going to be the 6th Messenger's pump action shotgun for Fallout 4. Now, what's really interesting is that this takes the combat shotgun model and turns it into a pump action, something I've seen people ask for before, but this one actually does it. Now, this mod didn't exactly come out this week, but when it did come out, it somehow slipped under my radar, and this is a very underrated mod. This is a super lore-friendly pump action shotgun, and it just looks awesome, and it works perfectly. This thing is added to the level list and it will be primarily found on gunners, though you can also craft it at the chemistry station. This thing is a shotgun, but it can be converted to shoot 44 caliber rounds and used as sort of a brush gun of sorts. Much like the Magnum Rifle, this includes two unique weapons, the Annabelle and the Devil Slugs, both of which can be found out in the Commonwealth. Again, I'm not going to give locations in this video to avoid spoilers for those who don't want it spoiled for them, but if you do want to know the exact locations, they are listed on the mod page, which is linked down in the description. Additionally, this mod also does have support for bullet counted reload, so you can have the correct number of shells being reloaded with that add-on, which is very nice. For working with only vanilla assets, the 6th Messenger always makes some really cool stuff, and I'm super excited to be checking this one out. This is a super cool shotgun and definitely worth grabbing for any lore-friendly load order. Up next, we have the Capital Wasteland Radscorpion mod by TheFriedturkey and HcGxGrill. This mod is going to add in the wonderful Capital Wasteland Radscorpions into Fallout 4's Commonwealth. Now, we've seen these models before in Project Mojave, and they look fantastic, and I'm very happy to see these guys making their way over to the Commonwealth. We actually did have a Radscorpion replacer that used the Project Mojave mod, but this one is a little bit different. It's not going to replace the vanilla Scorpions, but rather, like all of the other Capital Wasteland mods, it's going to add the Scorpions in alongside the vanilla Fallout 4 Scorpions, which will add even more creature variety. So there's a chance that you'll run into a vanilla Fallout 4 Scorpion, or one of the Capital Wasteland ones, or even both. Additionally, with this mod, it's standalone from Project Mojave, so you're not going to need Project Mojave as a requirement. So you can throw this into just about any load order, and additionally, it'll be available on Xbox, because again, no Project Mojave needed. Now, included in this mod aren't just the standard blue scorpions that we're used to, there are also some albino scorpions and even some glowing scorpions, which look really cool. Glowing variants always seem to make newly added creatures fit alongside the vanilla Fallout 4 stuff, which is really cool. That's pretty much all that this mod does, but it's a really cool one, and it's definitely worth checking out if you like the classic art style from Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. These are some great looking scorpions, and honestly, I prefer them to the vanilla Fallout 4 ones. And finally, we have the Handmade SMG by Pignus. Now, this is a newly added SMG to the Commonwealth that has been homemade by some raiders. This uses mostly vanilla assets. The only thing that's really custom in this is the stub barrel and the receiver, which were both modeled by me, but the textures for those were done by Pig, and the rest of this stuff is made using vanilla assets. And this is a really fun, highly customizable SMG. This is added to the level list and will start spawning out on gunners after level 5, so this is a very early game weapon. It uses 38 caliber rounds and is roughly on par with the vanilla SMG in terms of damage, though you can mod it to be much better. You can opt for a slow fire rate and some high damage, or a ridiculously high fire rate for low damage. Now, while this thing has a default chamber of 38, you can rechamber it into calibers like 10mm, which help to make this a little bit more usable at later game levels. This weapon is super cool, does feature some custom animations by War Daddy from the MPL, and altogether is just a nice little lore-friendly SMG. Definitely worth grabbing this one if you want to add a very lightweight mod into your load order that adds a really cool custom SMG. With that though, we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and a huge shout out to all of my patrons. You guys are awesome and you help support this channel in so many ways. If you want to consider checking out the Patreon yourself, you will get exclusive access to Discord roles, as well as early access to all of my mods and some sneak peeks that other people don't get a good look at. With that, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a rating, subscribe if you haven't already for more videos just like this, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace!